Very good morning. It's Penuel the Black Pen. A very happy Father's Day to all the fathers and dads, stepdads, grandfathers, uncles out there. Today we celebrate me. Today we celebrate all of you guys. I'll maybe explain a bit why I don't really like this day, but for all intents and purposes and all protocol observed, a very happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. And I really hope your children, maybe through their moms, maybe through your mother, if your children live with your mother or someone else, I hope your children will get to celebrate you. I hope you'll take this day to reflect and appreciate, the fact that you're a dad to someone. And those people look up to you and they admire you, and the fact that you contribute to them and their lives and their livelihood. It's arguably one of the most important roles that we have in society today, and yet there's a huge lack of fathers, dads in society today, which may explain why parts of society are so broken. Some protocol, I spent 2 days emalahleni. Emalahleni is a Nguni word for at the coal in Witbank in Mpumalanga. Friday, Saturday, I got the greatest hospitality by the team at Casa Burial Estate, Zitolama, which is I think it's a services provider company. They focus very much on cleaning and hygiene. Zitolama, headed by Tshepo Mavundla. I'd like to say thank you so much to my brother, Bentley. That's his nickname. Tshepo Mavundla Bentley. Such top-notch hospitality. I felt like a serious VIP. To his team, meeting Ubongani Mate, who is the project manager at Sukasa Burial Estate, who took us around, and Ulungile and the rest of her team as well. The hotel that we stayed in, the food that we got to enjoy at the Gatsby, close to Witbank, the way we were treated at the New Life Church, a very stunning church in Witbank, and everyone else that I met. It was so immaculately organized. I seriously felt like an important person. Like I found myself like feeling weird and out of place because of the incredible hospitality I got. Tshepo is basically launching Sukasa Burial Estate, which is, I think, 29 hectare plot where he is building a VIP, a very prestigious, luxurious burial space. He's inspired by the Fourway Cemetery in Johannesburg, and he wanted something in Mpumalanga where people who want to bury their loved ones with dignity can do so in an upmarket space. The vision is very beautiful. They're currently working on the marketing and everything else, and I'm hoping that he's going to be sharing more of his vision for Sukasa Burial Estate. But he's also a serious businessman in his own right, and he's achieved a lot of really great success. He's donated so much to charity, to churches, and he's genuinely got a really good heart. And he out a grand. So to Tshepo, the rest of the team, thank you so much for the amazing 2 days that we spent there. Of course, we were there for the Millionaires Masterclass business seminar, where Munya Shumba was one of the speakers, a certified financial planner, where Kenneth Karim, who is a pastor and a life coach, got to speak there. Kenneth in private got to explain to me his journey on how he was born into a Muslim family and he later on converted to Christianity. And his biggest thing was just he does not personally like the way women are treated in Islam, which I think would make for a very, very interesting conversation. Kenneth Karim was there. We had an amazing pastor, Colin Malulege, who has a church in Westdean near the UJ Stadium, who also came and opened up with prayer and a small sermon. And we got to chat to him afterwards as well. The MC of the main event was Vusi Ledwaba, who's become an amazing social personality, who is a beacon for the values of a Christian woman, a married woman, very positive, very healthy. She got to MC, she got to tell some of her stories as well there, which was really, really beautiful. And then, of course, the headliner, Mr. Vusi Thembekwayo, who got there and gave a really, really amazing speech, man, and a really amazing story. Very personal, very relatable, very educational. He touched on some of the teachings from his book, The Magna Carta of Exponentiality. English. Yes, The Magna Carta of Exponentiality. He gave some examples of some of the businesses that he profiled in the book. He spoke about his own speaking career and how Mpumile Dwaba had asked Uti, like the amounts that are quoted for your speaking, do you really get paid that much? And he was like, those amounts are very true, and today I get paid 3 to 5 times what you saw. Talk about his speaking engagements around the world, some of the amazing speakers that he's worked with globally, some of the amazing personalities. Spoke about Usain Bolt, spoke about Sir Richard Branson. You know, one of the cool things he said about Usain Bolt is when he was going to speak on stage with him, he asked Usain Bolt, how does it feel to have run about 9.5 seconds? Because that is absolutely insane and makes him the fastest man of all time. And he said, Usain Bolt said to him, my coach made me run 9.2 at practice. So what you guys see, I have smashed that in practice. He was highlighting the importance of having a coach and how his coach made him run 9.2, yet the world knows 9.5. Very educational, very inspirational. Like I said, very relatable, man. And I want to thank Vusi Thembekwayo. You know, it's because of him, it's because of Tshepo Mavundla that I was invited there, because I got to host the VIP Q&A afterwards, which lasted for, I think, about 2 hours, having the audience there engage with Vusi, with Karim, with Munya, with Pastor Colin as well, asking some of their business questions, some of their personal questions. We had a young 17-year-old boy who was basically saying, how do I influence and impact and convince my parents that they need to change the vision of the businesses that they have and to use their money in a more intelligent way. We touched on stuff like that. Some of the ladies in events, in the cake industry, there's a gentleman who does strategy and concepts. They were speaking about those things. And of course, I'd like to thank everyone who attended. There were people that were quoting saying, look, Penwell, we saw your ad, therefore we came through, we watched a lot of your podcasts. So shout out to you, Penuel the Black Pen. A lot of people were shocked to see that my beard and my scruffiness was gone, looking fresh. But it was so awesome meeting with so many of these people. It inspires me. I know some of the work that we do inspires people, but I did say in the closing remarks when I was closing off the Q&A that a lot of us who speak because we're taking some of the stories that people give us, we remix and articulate them in a certain way so that we can share them with the world. So it is because of real human beings in real life doing amazing things that we even get to have content. So we appreciate each and every one of you. A lot of people sent me DMs asking, when are you guys hosting something similar in Johannesburg? When are you guys hosting something similar in Durban? When are you guys coming to Cape Town? You guys are always doing things in Joburg. Please come to Cape Town. It's a conversation I had with Tshepo, and he said, look, it's something we really, really need to look into. The people are hungry to have some of us get out there, speak to them. They want to engage with us. They want to meet us. And I think that was really, really special to hear from people. So thank you once again to the entire team at the Millionaires Masterclass Business Seminar. A couple of days ago, I actually ran a poll on Twitter. And in my poll, I was asking, in your opinion, how do you define a millionaire? And I gave 4 options and I got over 2,200 votes on Twitter, people basically voting and choosing their options. The first option was having R1 million in cash in the bank. That makes you a millionaire. Having R1 million in income per year or in a year. That makes you a millionaire. Having R1 million in assets makes you a millionaire. And then the last one is having R1 million in net worth. So in terms of the votes, the lowest vote was earning R1 million income in a year. That got 10%. The second lowest was having R1 million in cash, which got a vote of 24% of the 2,200 people that voted. And then these last two basically got a tie of 33% each, having R1 million in assets and having R1 million in net worth. I'm only raising this because so many people speak about being a millionaire. So many people, I wrote this book, The Rise and Fall of the NSC, How I Made and Lost My Millions. And a lot of people will be like, hey, millions, hey Baba, we want to see your bank statements. Where are your millions that we need, that you claim that you had? And it made me realize a lot of people don't know what a millionaire is or how a millionaire is defined. So there definitely are some people that believe that if you do not have R1 million cash in the bank, you cannot call yourself a millionaire, which is a very fair requirement. If you're a millionaire, show us that liquid cash, you have R1 million in the bank. There are people that are defined, and I think some of these private wealth accounts at the banks, Investec, one of the most popular private banks, but I know some of the other more standard retail banks, your Absa, Standard Bank, Nedbank, what am I forgetting? Absa, FNB, Standard Bank, Nedbank, and some other banks in this country. A lot of them have this private wealth suite that they offer, and they look at income. I think it used to be R1 million income per year. I think they took it down to 750,000. I'm not really sure what the threshold is today. So for some people, earning R1 million a year, before tax, after tax, doesn't really matter. But if someone says, I earn R1 million a year, you are a millionaire. And there are people that genuinely define being a millionaire as, if you're not earning R1 million cash a year, how can you call yourself a millionaire? And then the last two are the ones that some people who claim to be educated actually grapple with. Having R1 million in assets and having R1 million in net worth. So when you look at the Forbes list, the Bloomberg list, and other rich lists, they normally speak about net worth. And a lot of people don't really know what net worth means. Net worth is a simple calculation of assets minus liabilities equals net worth. So having R1 million in assets is having R1 million house, of which a lot of our middle class parents, if your mom was a teacher, a nurse, if your dad was a cop, etc., they might have a house which is worth R1 million or more. Very, very standard. So that asset is worth R1 million. You may take the house, maybe 2 cars, maybe they have some shares in the stock exchange, maybe they have some cash in the bank, maybe they have some, I don't know if they have artwork, some jewelry, etc. You put all of that stuff together and it's over R1 million in assets. So for some people, that means you are worth R1 million. But a lot of people do not have access to the liabilities, including your Forbes, Bloomberg. They don't know how much these billionaires that they list owe the bank, owe investors, owe other people. So normally when they reflect the rich list, they only focus on the asset column and they only focus on listed assets that you can see. These people own shares here, there, and everywhere. The liabilities is how much do you owe the bank. So if I have R1 million house, but I still owe the bank 500,000 for that house, for your net worth, you say R1 million is the value of the house minus 500,000 Rand, which is how much I owe in liabilities, equals a net worth of 500,000. So you may see that my house is worth R1 million, therefore I have assets worth R1 million. And some people might say, well, this guy's a millionaire. But because I have liabilities of 500,000, someone else would say, but what is his net worth? Let's take his assets, his house, his car, his artworks, his shares, etc. Let's minus all the money he owes on the car, on the house, personal loans, credit cards, overdraft, etc. And then let's see what the net worth actually is. And to be fully honest, in the financial world, your net worth is meant to be the most important indicator of your millionaire or billionaire status. But like I said, most people do not have access to the liabilities. A lot of people focus on your assets. Some people want to see cash in the bank, and then some people want to see your income per annum. So again, when I wrote this book, or when I built my business, the National Savings Club, I sat on a podcast with Justice Shabalala on Justify, explaining the fact that my business was worth over R1 million because I was generating over 100, 200,000 Rand a month. 100,000 Rand a month is 1.2 million a year. 200,000 is 2.4 million. This is just in income, in revenue for the business. If you look at the assets that I had at the time, I had cattle, I had pigs, I had so many vehicles in meter taxis, in trucks that were moving goods. You could comfortably say this person is a millionaire. Then you add, for people that can do valuations, because this is a skill in itself, then you add the fact that I've got 13 books that I've written. What is the value of these books considering how much money I've made from the books, how much money I can potentially make from the books, as an example? How much money do I make in other ventures? Maybe it's speaking. Today I've got YouTube channels that I own. And if you look at how much money those YouTube channels are generating per month, you can create a valuation of how much these channels are actually worth. You realize that a lot of people you may not know are actually millionaires. A lot of people that you think are millionaires, if you remove their liabilities, are actually not. A person can have R1 billion in assets, in shares, but you might find that they owe 1.2 billion in total. So they actually have a negative net worth. So I just wanted to touch on that. Vusi, Thembekwayo, and some of the other gentlemen yesterday were speaking about the importance of embracing and discussing failure. And that's actually the reason why I even wrote this book in the first place. I was reading Get That Feeling by Ian Furr, who is the founder of Sorbet and today is Sorbet Man. And he was telling in very simple English, in a really great storytelling, simple storytelling way, his journey into becoming a business person. Spoke about some of his failures, money he'd lost, some of the people that had disappointed him. And I found myself inspired to say, look, it shouldn't only be that it's just people that have succeeded wildly that write books. We need to write the books on failure. And this book is my book on how I started something great and it failed, so that other people can read it, learn from my mistakes, and also find comfort in saying this guy is not ashamed of his failure. And if one day he bounces back and becomes something successful, there was a time when this guy failed and he wasn't moping around. He was actually saying, guys, I failed and I'm willing to tell my story. We need to have people that normalize telling their stories of failure so that we can learn from their failures, try and avoid them. And so that other kids are not scared to jump into things because they can say, but Penwell's failed before, but whoever's failed before, but whoever, they've written these books, they've told these stories. So failure is common in your journey to success. I think is very, very important. When Vusi Thembekwayo touched on Richard Branson, he spoke about dyslexia and a lot of the really successful people who did not do well at school. I know, for example, someone like Gary Vaynerchuk, who owns VaynerMedia in America, who speaks about how he used to fail at school. And that a lot of these guys, because they've been failing and been called stupid and a disappointment from a young age, they've gotten comfortable with, you will make mistakes. And by the time they start a business and it fails, they're like, well, I've failed in life before. They start another one, they fail until they succeed. For a lot of kids who are A students, they have never failed in life. They have always been champion students, A students, the sports athletes. By the time they start a business and they fail, they've never experienced that before. And it breaks their mind because they don't know what failure feels like. And it becomes the first time. So we need to normalize failure, because failure brings the building blocks towards success. Anyone who understands becoming a super athlete, anyone who understands becoming a great academic, genuine academic, anyone who understands doing anything amazing will know that you will make a lot of mistakes. Children, when they're learning to walk, fall many times. Children, when they're learning to ride a bicycle, will fall down. You, when you're learning how to drive, you may not crash in other cars because it's in a controlled environment, but you will make so many mistakes where the car is jerking and you're putting it in the wrong gear and it's because you're still learning. You will make mistakes in learning how to drive a car. As a parent, you will make mistakes with your child. You forget to take off the nappy and it stays on for a bit long. Your child has a bit of a rash and now you have to remember, snap, if I leave the nappy on for too long and my child urinates, they will get burnt by the pee. When your child is hungry, when your child gets sick, then you're like, oh, I should keep my child warm. Maybe when it's flu season, I should maybe strategize taking my child to creche or not, because there will be the flus and the ear infections and the this infections. And you learn through mistakes how to become a great parent. So again, to everyone who was at the Millionaire Masterclass Business Seminar, thank you so much. Myself, Tshepo, and the rest of the organizers are looking into hopefully doing something similar for other parts of South Africa. To my brother Vusi Thembekwayo, thank you so much for being an amazing brother, an amazing educator, for inspiring myself and so many other people out there to rise up and do really, really amazing things. And of course, to all the speakers and the MC Mpumili Dwaba, thank you again. All protocol observed. One of my more quoted, maybe not popular, it is popular, but quoted videos it's got a caption that reads, I want to stop maintaining my children. And in true average fashion, most people who criticize me about that video have never taken time to watch that video. They criticize me. Yeah, but you don't want to maintain your kids. You're a deadbeat. I mean, you released a video stating. Average people obviously just read headlines and come up with opinions without actually reading the article. My title says I would like to stop maintaining my children. The title is not I have stopped maintaining my children. The title is not I think maintaining my children is stupid, etc. I would like to stop maintaining my children is a conversation that I have in that video about why I have an issue with this whole concept of maintenance. It is some of my thoughts on fatherhood, old school fatherhood, modern fatherhood. It touches on my own dad. It touches on my experience as a father. And for the people that actually took time to actually watch the video, they actually understand what the video is about. And the video is about a man who does not live with his child or his children, and the concept of blindly sending money versus saying, I will not send money. I will not maintain you in the standard sense. I will, though, provide for you if I get to spend time with you. I want to ensure that the mother does not hold the child hostage and I have to keep sending money like my child is held at ransom. And I will not be bullied into just becoming an ATM. I want to be a father. So for that reason, I will not maintain my child in the standard sense, but I will provide for my child in the real sense by saying, if my child needs anything, I will be there. I will go to the school and pay school fees. I will go with my child to the stores and buy things. I will be present in my child's life to impart wisdom, skills, knowledge, open them up to a network, and provide for them in real time. That is what the video was about. It wasn't about me saying I want to be a deadbeat father and useless. But again, like I said, average mediocre minds will just look at the headline and will not even take time to go and watch the video. It's a very deep video. It was a very sensitive video where I was being very vulnerable about my experiences with my father, my own thoughts about fatherhood, my own children as well. Shout out to Patrick Bet David, PBD, who's one of the greatest podcasters in the world, who sat last week with Andrew Tate for 4.5 hours. And I think in the first day they might have been like 4 million views. I'm not sure where they're sitting now. Actually, let me check for you. To check where they're sitting now on that episode. It was a whirlwind episode for so many people. Patrick Bet David sitting with Andrew Tate. Patrick Bet David. Let's do Andrew Tate. Let's see what it says here. Okay. Oh, wait. From 5 days ago. 5 days ago. 11 million views. 11 million views. 4.5 hours. Listening to Andrew Tate go hard, boy. A day ago, Patrick Bet David released an interview with Tristan Tate, the brother of Andrew Tate. And in one day, it's currently sitting on 3.3 million views. A reminder for some of us that there is a vacuum and a gap for, I'll call it aggressive masculinity, not toxic. The world in which we live in today, the media that is being pumped, the kind of content in the schooling system is geared towards feminizing men, getting men to be soft, getting men to say things like violence is bad, I won't have a gun, guns kill people. No, we need to be sensitive, we need to cry, men must be vulnerable. And it has created this vacuum and this gap for aggressive masculinity where men are saying, boys, don't cry. You must man up. You must gym. You must get a gun. You must have a very healthy relationship with violence. Because if you want to protect your family, as security, which is one of the old school requirements for a man and a father, you must be comfortable like a dog in stopping whichever intruder comes into your family's space. Your woman, your children. You think of movies like Liam Neeson's Taken. These movies where Men on Fire, Denzel Washington, The Law-Abiding Citizen. Law-Abiding Citizen is Gerard Butler. These movies where the men there, because their families have been violated or their loved ones have been violated, they rise to this level of toxic masculinity where they go out there and they do the most gruesome things to avenge their families, to find your daughter, to go and find the child that you're meant to be babysitting, etc. So we've got a gap in that. And you find that the nations that still have a healthy dose of aggressive masculinity, America, which has a strong military, Russia, which has a strong military, China, which has been removing a lot of these feminine men off their screens, sending more kids, South Korea, which still has compulsory military conscription, the guys at BTS, which is arguably the biggest pop band in the world and one of the biggest boy bands of all time, They were sending their young men, these androgynous looking, Michael Jackson looking gents at BTS to go and train in the army. Whereas in places like South Africa, we no longer have compulsory military conscription, but you find that some of the groups that still believe in aggressive masculinity, specifically the Afrikaners, they still send their young boys to go and play rugby. You find a lot of the English schools today that are saying things like, no, rugby is a bit too dangerous for our boys, so they won't play rugby. The Afrikaans schools are still saying, young boys, young seuns, must still go play rugby and get hard and toughen up. You know, the fathers are there burning meat over a flame. They're sending their boys to the shooting range from a very young age. If you ever visit shooting ranges, you will see a lot of the white Afrikaans men with their young boys, 9 years old, holding weapons and shooting, learning how to hold and handle a gun. Some of the young boys are going to jiu-jitsu, mixed martial arts, boxing, karate to learn how to defend themselves and to learn how to defend their families where needs be. Of course, a lot of these men are also handwork, learning how to farm. You know, some of us that come from a Nguni culture or from a black culture, you'll know the concept of killing and slaughtering a goat, a sheep, a cow, maybe even a chicken, killing it in blood where it's screaming and squealing, and you cut it open and you open and you tear it up and it's bleeding and you cut open the guts so that you can go and have meat. You know, some young kids today, if you ask them, where does meat come from? They'll tell you, oh, meat comes from Woolworths. Meat comes from Pick and Pay. No, meat comes from an animal that has been killed, slaughtered, cut open, guts taken out. That's actually where meat comes from. And for people that are into aggressive masculinity, those are some of the conversations. You know, I'll touch on this now. One of the fights that I had with my second born son, Uzulu, one of the fights we had when we were sitting with the family advocate was, the mother was saying, I don't want my son exposed to animals being slaughtered. And I was like, why? And she said, because it will traumatize a child watching an animal getting killed and slaughtered. And I was like, unfortunately, I can never agree to that. Never. Because I come from a cultural background and I come from a space where young boys are expected to be at the forefront of holding the legs of the goat, of the sheep as it's kicking, even the cow as it's kicking, and learning how to slaughter this thing, learning how to remove the skin, learning how to kipinyongo, you know, ibindi, to get the blood out. And that experience on its own is almost a rite of passage for young boys to become men, to say, I know how to cut open an animal fearlessly, so that if one day dangerous people are coming into my family space and all I have is a knife, I know how to kill and slaughter a live being. It may have been an animal, but this is a human being, and you learn how to be strong. And she was looking to deprive my son of that. And I was saying there will be no way that my son will be deprived of that. One of the other things she said is, I don't want anyone to ever hit my child physically. Which, look, we laughed about together like 3 years later when I asked, so you've never hit the boy? And she was like, hey, this boy is a problem. I've had to hit him. I'm like, that's what it takes. That little bit of physical assault on a child strengthens them. Not out of anger, but out of love, to say, look, I will toughen you up. I do this thing with my kids, including my daughters, where I play kick them, I play punch them, we wrestle to strengthen them. You know, this healthy, aggressive masculinity. My brother and I, myself and Penson, are strong believers in that. My brother Zita, Ntanzi, Ndima, his young 3 boys, always. When I visit Ushaga, when Unkunzi used to live with me, when Uzulu used to come and visit us, we're doing push-ups, we're doing squats, we're running around, we're wrestling. I want them to have a healthy dose of masculinity. They must know that life is meant to be tough. Let's go out there. Unkunzi and I used to visit Didier, the family farm in the Val, where he'd be there with the pigs. There was a time when he was there with the boys, my cousin Upilani's boys, where they went to go and find rats, dead rats, to go and throw away. That healthy dose of masculinity is lacking in life out there. And obviously in the households where there aren't standard men and there are feminized men, a lot of children, especially girls, miss out on seeing what a healthy dose of aggressive masculinity is like. An aggressive man who's angry, who maybe likes Andrew Tate, Tristan Tate, Jordan Peterson, Joe Rogan, some of these manly men that if ever you are in trouble, these are the people you call. If ever your car tire is flat, these are people that will come and change it. if ever there's an issue with your car, in the front there, they open the bonnet and they try and sort some of these things out. If there's a rat in the house, if there's an intruder in the house, these are the people that have a gun or a knife who will swear and tell people to fuck off, get out of my house, etc. If there's something happening in your neighborhood. I live in Montgomery Park in Johannesburg, and I remember an amazing story where this old lady was being kidnapped and her car being hijacked. And one of our neighbors there had an amazing huge gun, and he shot at these guys. One of them ended up dying, the rest ran away, and he saved the life of this elderly woman, and she got to she got to keep and preserve her vehicle. The power of having healthy, aggressive masculinity in your area where you feel safe. And you're like, there are men in my neighborhood. I feel safe. What happened with the rioting in 2021, where in certain neighborhoods, there were taxi drivers, taxi owners, there were maybe some Afrikaner men, there were maybe some other men who had guns, who were saying there's no one that is going to come and loot and riot in our neighborhood because we are here and we will protect our community. Very, very important learnings. My father was what growing up I deemed toxic masculinity. But I'd come to learn later that no, man, this is not toxic. My father went and bought boxing gloves, and he'd get the boys in the neighborhood, including myself and my brother, to put on these boxing gloves and to moor the shit out of each other. When we went to go and visit my aunt, may she rest in peace, or Patience Nguban, we went to go and visit her in her marital home, Msinga. One of the first things that happened when we got there is the boys, they were saying, can you fight? You will fight with all the guys here because we want to rate you in the hierarchy of where can we respect you from a physical dominance perspective. And Abafan Msinga will then go and fight each other bare knuckle where you're fighting. But because we came from rugby, because we came from a father who had a healthy appetite with violence, it became nice to fight with the boys there. My brother makes his boys fight with each other, wrestle with each other in a controlled environment to just get comfortable, to be like, if the boys at school are giving you issues, you won't be one of the victims of bullying. Hopefully you will not be bullying other boys yourself, but just become comfortable with violence and physical altercations. Some of the other things my dad did, being around soccer boys, huge testosterone. The fact that he loved guns, he loved the shambok. He had a lot of dogs around him. We were inundated with masculinity. Then you go to the rugby field, where there's these Afrikaner men. One of the guys I played rugby with, look, it's a story I can laugh at now. It wasn't funny then. And I apologize for mentioning his name, Marcel Swart, Blackie. Huge. I think he was 88 kgs later on in high school, our 8th man. He comes to choir rehearsal one of the afternoons, and his face is red and his eyes are swollen. And I ask him, Blackie, what's wrong? And he's like, no, my father hit me. My father moored me. I'm like, fuck, I'm really sorry, bro. What happened? Because we were in rugby and we look up to the Springboks and the All Blacks, these guys have got like sensational legs, these thighs and these calves. And to show them off, they shave them. They shave their legs. Their legs look amazing. So Marcel is like, no, I was shaving my legs. And my dad came in and is like, I apologize. This is a homophobic slur. But his father's like, why are you doing this fucking morphikak? We don't shave here. And his dad beat him up for shaving his legs, to say this is a feminine act. This shaving your legs, kak. We don't do that here. A lot of the Afrikaans men are very big on when you shake hands, firm handshake, look people in the eyes. Hey, hoe gaan het? Gaan het goed? Yeah, lekker. Let's feel each other up as men. Like, is jy a man? I remember there's an interview that Louis Theroux from BBC does with the leader of the AWB, the Avia Beer. He's passed on now, Eugene Terblanche. And when they shake hands, Louis is like, oh, that's a very firm handshake. And Eugene Terblanche in his amazing deep voice is like, what am I? Am I not a man? Am I not a man? So I've been in these spaces of healthy, aggressive masculinity. And I feel it is important that some of us are very big on do push-ups, do squats. Get comfortable being around men. Don't let women dictate to you how to be a father and a man. And these holidays like Father's Day, where so many men are expecting socks and mugs and cards, they're cute, but they feminine. Let's be honest, they're feminine. I don't think men should have a Father's Day. It is amazing for men to be, and it's great for men to be acknowledged. Thank you so much for what you do as a dad, for providing. We thank you for what you do for our family, for protecting us, for being there, for helping with the kids. But to be fully honest, we shouldn't have these stores. What are you doing for your father? Hey, Dad, we made you breakfast in bed and you... It's not really for men, in my opinion. Of course, in my opinion. Very old school opinion. A man's credit and where a man should feel happy at seeing his success as a father is in waking up in the morning and seeing his children eating. Waking up in the morning and seeing his sons turning into these strong men because of work he's put in. Seeing his daughters get excited on any other day. Daddy, may we make you a cup of coffee? Daddy, I baked you a cake. You're like, I've raised amazing young women that one day will become amazing partners to the men that they choose to be with. It is waking up in the morning and your children are at peace and at ease, and your woman as well, because they know they're in a safe space because you are there. It is your children coming home from school in their nice uniform and you knowing that I pay school fees there. It is in your woman knowing that at any given time, if her tire is flat, she can holler at you, babe, I don't know what's wrong with my tire, please help me out. It's you going to your cars and seeing them clean and being like, that's me. I took these cars to the car wash, or I washed them, or I got my boys to go wash these fucking cars. It is knowing that you provide, you protect, you secure your family, and you see your family thriving. That is success for a man. That is success for a leader. We speak today about leadership. I mean, Ace Magashule has been expelled from the ANC. Julius Malema says they are in conversations with Ace Magashule. We saw Cyril Ramaphosa, his security detail, and some journalists being locked in for 26 hours in Poland, which is a story that needs to be discussed on what exactly happened there and who was at fault. Was it the South African delegation who did not send sufficient comms? Some of the packages, which apparently were weapons, being sent there. Is it Poland being unnecessary and maybe even being sent by America to say, punish the South Africans because they don't want to pick a side between Russia and Ukraine? It's actually a very problematic geopolitical issue that we have there. But you look at what's happening there. Now, I want to speak about leadership. A good leader in his neighborhood knows that their people are safe. There aren't random criminals mugging people in your area. You don't have illegal foreigners in your area roaming around. You don't have funny business people you don't know making money from the people in your area. You don't have bad role models, boys smoking in Nyaupe, people mugging old women, because you know there are real men, there are real leaders in your community. That's how the people in the community know that they are leading. This is from a masculine perspective. Obviously, from a feminine perspective, the women will pride themselves seeing clean homes. The young girls waking up in the mornings, cleaning and sweeping. The girls themselves in the neighborhoods looking clean and beautiful and being respectful everywhere they pass. Sanbona Baba, Sanbona Mama, Khuyamore Tani, Ukhanat Uem. These are well-groomed children in the neighborhood. And you're like, we have great leadership. Our religious leaders in the neighborhood, our traditional leaders in the neighborhood, our educational leaders, the people that are teachers and principals, you see in the way the children, their hair is well cut, they're well groomed, their shirts are tucked in, the kids are neat, and they're like, it's because of my school teacher, it's because of my principal, who has been very big on be neat, look after yourself, and you see the kids out there. We have neighborhoods today with nyaupe and kids that are swearing and girls with their bums hanging out because the quality and caliber of leadership in our neighborhoods has become so poor. But the neighborhood for some of us is something we cannot control, but we can control our home. People have met some of my kids, in particular Unkunzi, and they've said things like, you look like a militant dad. When you call your son, he runs to you. When you send him somewhere, he says, Yebo Baba. My kids, when they see me, hello Baba Unjani. Even when I'm around other children, I hold them to account. You don't just come up to me, hi, I'm looking for, no. Good morning. Good morning. I'm looking for, how are you? I'm fine, thanks. I'm looking for, ask me how I am. How are you? I'm fine, thank you. How can I help you? Teaching children these basic respect, traits, and etiquette. Good morning, sir. Good morning. How are you? I'm well, thanks. How are you? I'm well. Please, may you help me. If you go in some of these really, really good schools out there, the Afrikaner schools, the top Afrikaner schools, the top English schools, you get there, young boys in particular, they get up. Some might wear a hat, a basher. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am. Morning, sir. Morning, ma'am. As they pass, ma'am, sir. Afrikaner school, juffrou, meneer, oom, Tannie, goeiemiddag, goeiemorgen. Respect. They get up. They stand up when they see you. If you need anything, you put your hand up. A boy comes running to you. Yes, sir. How can I help you? I'm looking for the bathrooms. Oh, sir. No, you'll find the bathrooms at the back there somewhere. Thank you very much. No problem, sir. The schools are holding them to account to be respectful. It's one of the things that I've learned, especially being in a rugby space. I love the school culture that we have in terms of respect in this country. It's something that I see my boy DZ is very big on. We'll be mates. Brother, hey, how you baba, hey, what? But when we're in spaces, sir, ma'am, really honored to meet you. If you remember ex-President Jacob Zuma, big on respect, which is something that we are taught. It's ingrained in the Zulu nation. That's why when these Zulus are beating each other, a lot of it has to do with inhlonipho, respect. When you get to a place, maybe you get up, sanbona njani, when you get in somewhere, you would get a slap as a Zulu boy. You get into a space, your father will fucking slap the shit out of you in front of everyone. Number one, uyangena, you wait your turn. If we're speaking, you wait. You stand there, be visible. Wait for us to acknowledge your presence. Be visible. We can talk here, see you, carry on talking, let us finish. And then after that, we're like, yeah, I'm fine. And then you start by greeting. Sanbona njani? I see appeal, I'm fine. I can maybe call you and say, look, come and greet and shake hands with these people. And then from there, I'm fine. Baba, khona inkinga la ngaphandle besacela, I know, ayikho inkinga. If it's urgent, obviously, you show your presence, you put your hand up to try and show your dad, look, there's something urgent. And you show it in your face that, Baba, there's something urgent that needs you outside. And then your father will be like, Mfana yini inkinga? Sanbona baba. Baba khona into enkhona la ngaphandle. Then your father realizes there's something urgent. If it's not urgent, you stand there, you wait to be acknowledged. And then from there, yeah, I'm fine. And then you start by greeting everyone in the room. These are basic things that you are taught when there is a healthy masculinity around you. And a lot of homes have been deprived. And I see when we have these conversations, there are people that still don't get it. And it breaks my heart because we are going to continue breaking society. There's an amazing woman now. I don't even know what her name is. Is it Sadia? She's a psychologist. She's got these videos that are trending now on TikTok. Sadia Khan. That's the lady. Hey, wait, I think it's her. She Pakistani? No. Wrong person. Wrong person? Right person. Sadia Khan. I think she's a psychologist. Masters of Psychology from Pakistan, University of Karachi. And she's also got an MBA, Master of Business Administration. She's 35 years old, born in 1987. Stunning woman, who unpacks psychology for people. Kind of like what Jordan Peterson was doing when he came out into the game. And Sadia in one of her clips says, a lot of men are not absent parents and deadbeats because of their own doing. And she's like, I'm not here to protect the real deadbeats. There are a lot of horrible men out there. A lot. They run away from responsibility. They make excuses. I personally will never defend men like that. If anything, I want to find those men. I want to figure out what's wrong and I want to try and help them rise up and become better men so that they can go and become better fathers and lower themselves and apologize to the mother of the child, apologize to the families and say, look, I made a mistake. I ran away. I was a coward. Maybe like the prodigal son. I ran away, but I'm back now and I'm ready to face all the chastise me, shout at me. I will pay my dues and I will try and do the right thing. I'm not there to protect those guys. Saudi is speaking about a lot of good men really struggle to co-parent because the mothers make it hell to do so. You are trying to see your child and this woman has blocked you on WhatsApp. She's refusing to pick up your phone calls and she has held your child prisoner. If you try and go and see your child where she stays, she calls it trespassing. She calls security, she calls the police. You're like, I just want my child. You will not tell me with my child. It is not your child, it is our child. But you act like you are fucking God's gift to this child. I am also a parent. And they make life hell. The guy sends money. She doesn't even send a thank you. She doesn't even acknowledge that the money was sent. You try and see your child, she comes up with excuses. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, her family members have full flexible access to your child. Her friends have full flexible access to your child. Every random person in her life, the school teachers, the people at the stores have access to your child, but you cannot. As if you violated her, as if you raped her. But you guys consensually, mutually had a child, And yet today she's acting like the prison warder to that child and denying you access. There's this term called parental alienation, and it is the reason so many men today are depressed and committing suicide. And when you raise these issues, some broken and hurt women on social media stop making excuses for men. No, lady. Some feminized, toxic men. No, bro. If you love your child, there should never be an excuse. You should do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes? Do you know what that term means to a man, whatever it takes? It includes beating up a woman. It includes killing a woman. It includes doing violent things. It includes things like taking your own life. When you use reckless terms like whatever it takes. So many of us have gone to courts to try and fight, hoping that the court system in this country will be fair, and it is not for many men. For other men, they get lucky. They take a woman to court, she panics, her family panics, and all of a sudden they play ball. Some of the women are malicious and they will go through the process. Their family members will go out of their way to help them raise money to get an expensive lawyer to keep your child from you. That's how vile and broken and toxic societies have become. And then it will be like, oh, but why doesn't he just take her to court? You guys are making excuses. Go and spend time with lawyers. Spend time with family advocates. Spend time with some of these fathers groups that are fighting tirelessly for fathers' rights. And stop being ignorant and stop being part of the problem in society. We're not here to defend bad men. That is ridiculous. We're not here to not defend good women. We are here to say they are children, and the woman should not be a god for the child. It is not her child. The child belongs to both parents and society as a whole, and the father has an equal right to parent. And the way the father parents must be up to the father. The mother should never dictate how to parent. The mother's mother should never dictate how the father should parent. Society out there should not dictate how a father should parent. The father, as a good man, gets to decide for himself. My son will do push-ups. My son will go to the shooting range. My son will learn how to fix a car. No, daddy, that is too stressful for the child. Let kids be kids. You do that with your child. Leave my child alone. We constantly want to dictate to men how to parent. And how we want men to parent is this feminized version of, oh, let me rub you. Let me take you out for ice cream. My brother calls it being a deputy mom. There's nothing wrong with being a soft dad. We're allowed to be different as men. If you want to be a soft, feminized father, my man, by all means, please do that. You go and you bake cookies and muffins with your kids. You go and have imaginary tea parties with your daughters. You dress up in a tutu. It is your prerogative, bro. I'm just happy that you're a present father. I'm just happy that your children get to see you there, and I'm happy that you provide. And that makes me happy. I might judge and criticize you because I don't agree with your parenting style, but I applaud that you're there. But we don't need men like you coming to dictate to men like us how we are parenting wrong. How we don't want to do the tea parties. How we don't want to rub our little boys' stomachs and be like, oh boy, it's okay. If you want the soft shit, go to your fucking mom. She's the nurturer. I'm here for the fucking tough stuff. I'm going to be the disciplinarian. I'm going to be the bad guy. I'm the guy that when your mom is struggling to discipline you, she says, let me call your father. Because you know when Masimbenja fucking rocks up on the door, it is a hell for you. When dad rocks up, you fucking shiver. Because you're like, fuck, Satan is here. And I'm like, your mother called me. What the fuck are you doing? Why are you frustrating my wife, my woman, your mother? Who the hell do you think you are? I made you. I will end your life. And your son knows that my dad is Satan. And because I know my dad is Satan, he is a good man. But one day when I'm in trouble at school, if a male teacher is threatening me as a student, if the principal is giving me grief, if one of the boys' fathers is giving me hell, at home I have Satan, I have the devil. And I'm telling you now, boy, if I call my dad here, it is fucking hell. You know when Liam Neeson picks up the phone and is like, I've got a particular set of skills. I will find you. I will kill you. That's when you're like, boy. We don't have that anymore in the police services, in the army. We don't have that in leadership. We don't have that in our homes. These men that you're like, when you call these guys, boy, you better make sure that your life insurance premiums are paid up. You better make sure that you know what you're doing. When the king arrives, or when you shoot at the king, make sure you don't miss. Because if you do, boy, wantulela magugu. Gini, go back to you know. That's what's missing in society. So on this Father's Day, again, I respect and I worship all men out there who are trying their best in this tough time with unemployment, with women empowerment, with feminism, with these systems that are designed to uplift women but kind of oppress men. Systems that have been built by men, by the way. These systems have been built by elite men to make sure that they have less competition. Because if you're lifting men to be strong, boy, at any given time, these guys can overthrow you. So, to the men that are trying, to the men that are gymming, to the men that are growing their own food, to the men that are there in their children's lives, we appreciate you. I appreciate you. The world may not really understand you. I understand you, and I know what you're doing is very important. When barbarians are at the gate, masculinity ceases to be toxic. Today, masculinity has been demonized, and we're trying to revive it because it is important. It is important that we have masculine men in society that can protect and preserve, that can rise up and lead, especially against corrupt, malicious politicians and some of these corrupt, malicious business people. We need more real men to rise up and fight against the bullshit of these spaces. So to you men, I love you and I appreciate you. And let's come together and let's raise better children. Let us protect and preserve our women. Let us guide our women to understand the type of men we are so that they can help us in raising young boys that are like that. So many young boys have amazing mothers who make sure that they expose them to healthy masculinity. I'm a woman. I'm limited. I want my boy to go play rugby. I want my boy to go with his uncle to go to the shooting range. I want my boy to go and spend time with other types of men and not just men that will agree with me. You know, to women like that, we appreciate you. Even the women that are teaching their boys, there are women that are on the side of the rugby field, side of the soccer field, screaming their lungs out, that are telling their boys, you must gym. Your father used to gym while he was still alive. He used to exercise. Your father used to say a man must do this. Go and spend time maybe with your father's brothers. Go spend time with my brothers so that you can learn how to be a man. Because I'm a woman, I can only do so much. To you mothers, we really, really appreciate you. To the people that will be spoiling their dads, thank you so much. To my kids that have already started sending messages, I love you. I've been spending a lot of time with my boy, Uskupu, Unyanga. I love him so much. I'm going to be spending time with my boy, Ushaga, soon. I'm going to be in Durban with his sister, Culture. I love Ushaga so much, and I'm training him like my dad trained me to be Nkosana, the prince. That when I'm not around, boy, you're the man of the house. I used to teach his older brother, who I'm going to be visiting hopefully in Asia soon, Unkunzi. You need to be the man of the house. You need to protect your sister, Africa, wherever she is. You need to protect your mother. Be a man. Got so much joy a couple of months ago when my son sent me a message and he's like, Dad, you know Andrew Tate? I was like, yeah, boy. That toxic masculinity is getting in the blood. Knowing that Unkunzi watches Andrew Tate, he watches some of my videos. I'm hoping that his brother, Uzulu, with his younger half-sister, Uzoe, he's there being a man of the house. He's learning how to be a man. He's beginning to navigate and see, look, life is not fair. Women are treated a certain way. Men are treated a different way. This is what life is like. And sooner rather than later, as he gets older, I will rebuild and refine him and I'll bring him closer and I'll grab him by the back of the neck and I'll be like, my boy, welcome back. You didn't choose to be the prodigal son. It was by circumstance and your mom. But you're back home with your father. And now we can start doing this really, really hard work of turning you into a man. I remember a really good friend of mine, Yannick Wombo. Yannick Wombo is this machine of a beast, Congolese beast. Amazing rugby player from Pretoria Boys High. He played at the same time as the first and the youngest, the first black and the youngest captain of the Springboks, Chilipo Ralepele. He played for the Blue Bulls at Craven Week. And then he went and played for the Falcons. He went and played for UJ Wombo. You know, Yannick Wombo, huge. I think he was 110 kgs when he was telling me the story. Built like a beast. Telling me that if you think I'm big, you should see my uncles. He's like, there's this one uncle, even now at this age, when he sees him, he grabs him by the back of the neck and he shakes him. Yannick! Yannick! And he's like, yeah, if I thought I was big, there are real men out there. Shout out to the brothers. Shout out to the brothers. I need to find them. Nazvik. What's Naz's surname? Chukucha. Is it Chukucha? Chukucha. Rugby players. Nah, man, come on. I don't want to mess up this surname. Sharks. Abafana baseGoli. I think they're also from the DRC. Amazing, amazing young men. Sorry, I'm shutting down this video now, but I need to send a shout out to these brothers because they're absolutely amazing. Let's see if I can find Naz's. Come on, man. Let's go to our rugby group. Chiduka. Nesvik. Nice Victoria, I think is his name. Nice Victoria. Chiduka. The brothers. Vincent. Chiduka. I want to find the brothers. So he went to Northcliffe High. I know Naz went to Roosevelt, which is around my hood. Let's go, brothers. There's Emmanuel as well. Beasts. The most respectful, humble young men you'll meet. Very religious, very well brought up. They speak about their parents as well. Huge, built like machines. That's the type of masculinity I love. Healthy, very healthy. That's why I also still say that young boys must play rugby, man. You'll find your boys there, running into each other, bleeding. Very healthy space. We still play touch rugby every week, because it's a healthy space for men to like get their testosterone levels up, be around people like my brother, Nigel Chuma. So Nigel Chuma, my brother, and my Hlome Chwete are so verbally abusive. Toxic masculinity, but they help guys grow their kahunas. They help guys become strong. Fuck. What an amazing gent. Do Zondo, who came through. They used to tease him. I think they've kind of influenced him to be toxic like them, but amazing gents. Amazing gents that we have there, man. Kal Fasaki. The fucking asshole. Love the guys there. These healthy, masculine spaces, and those are the spaces that we want to raise our young boys in. Responsible, caring, loving, understand that they need to provide, they need to be security for their families, and understand that the world we're living in is a battlefield and there are forces that want to destroy masculinity, and it is up to us to preserve masculinity. Keep it safe. These men that are beating up women and killing women and raping, that's not masculinity. That's fucking demonic. And when you've got real masculinity sorts those people out. Because real masculinity understands that feminine energy needs to be protected. And you don't fight with feminine energy at all. Feminine energy shouldn't fight with masculinity. It's silly. But anyway, so those gents, happy Father's Day to my kids, Malanga, Afrika, Zulu, Shaga, Culture, Nyanga. Love you guys very much. Thank you so much for making me a father. Shout out to their mothers, man. Thank you so much for making me a father to amazing, strong, healthy children. Happy children. Who are going to conquer the world in various ways. Love you guys very much. Appreciate you guys. I'm going to be seeing all of you guys very soon. To all the fathers out there, I love you. I appreciate you. And the fathers, the boss, to all Baba out there, on Tate, thank you so much. We love you. And to all the men who have been amazing role models to me. Maybe I need to give a shout out to Ubab Kumalo from Grahamstown, Ekhini, who's actually from Leondale in Johannesburg. Ubab Vusi Kumalo. Ubaba Boy Nkosi, Ngodini in Nelspruit, AP Sumbulu from Epofolo, actually from Cape Town, Ubaba Nkosi, Ubaba Tabang, Newcastle, Ubaba Nkosi, of course, from Durban, who now lives in Johannesburg, Ubaba Bright, Ubaba Nkosi, Ubaba Mushla, Umonde, Cholo in Gqeberha, Blue Water Bay, in PE. I know I won't remember all of you. Mr. Kobus Dippenaar in Newcastle, the father of Yana, Marna, and Tshepo. That's the name we gave him. Yaku Dippenaar. Some of the amazing fathers, man, that have been an amazing example to some of us, who have been an amazing example to some of their children. Dirk Coetzee, amazing rugby coach back in primary school who gave us proper healthy masculinity. Harold Goos, of course. Rassi, no, not Rassi, Erasmus. Kali van Rensburg, who was the first team rugby coach at Newcastle High. Meneer Skuman as well at Newcastle High. All the older men. My father, man, may he rest in peace, Uswine. My father, his brothers, Simon, Upet. My cousin, who was an older brother / uncle, Usazi. Also toxic masculinity. Putsazi, Otuluza, Obu, Ostanley, may they rest in peace. On my mother's side of the family, Otozani, Omko. I've had amazing young men to look to draw from in my life. All my father's friends, Ababe Zingela Nabo, Bab Stolum, and all the guys, Dlem, no Elias. I've been blessed to be exposed to so many amazing men. And today, all the men I'm meeting, Vusi Thembekwayo, DJ Sbu, I got to meet Dr. Uma Ifatunde, Duduzane Zuma, Winston Innes, Sfiso Madondo, Umfwetu. Yeah, man, my brother, who is my younger brother, but who also acts up as my older brother, who is sometimes my voice of reason, to my mother, who understood the importance of us having a healthy dose of masculinity, to my sister as well, Penrose, but to the men in my life and the men that I continue to meet and the young boys that I continue to see and that we continue to influence. Love and appreciate you guys, man. Father's Day, yes, is for us, but I don't know, man. Maybe let's find another way to celebrate it outside of socks and mugs. Maybe let's make sure that men come together and maybe turn Father's Day into a men's conference. How do we turn this into a men's conference where men are coming together, iron sharpening iron, sharing knowledge with each other, young boys being with their dads. Use this day to take your dad to the shooting range, shoot guns, take your dad to the racetrack, drive some cars, go to the gym with your father, go watch a rugby game or go play touch rugby with your dad, go do masculine things, go fishing. Maybe turn this weekend into not necessarily fathers, but men's weekend. Because not a lot of kids have fathers, and some of us are putting our hands up to be fathers to kids who don't have their fathers present. And a lot more of us if you have capacity. Like with Jacob Zuma, the father of the nation, with his over 20 kids. Be a father to kids out there. Be a stepdad if the opportunity and the privilege is bestowed upon you, and be like, I have an opportunity to sculpt a child into becoming something great. I think it's our time to shine and our time to rise. This video has been too long. Love you guys very much. Have a great and blessed Sunday. We'll catch up soon. Cheers.